Okay, let's give you guys some more practice. So here, find the second derivative of this thing here. Okay, so press pause and have a go. Okay, so to do this here, visualize this square root here as to the power of a half. So now differentiate this here. So differentiating this will give you, well, remember this thing here gets multiplied down here, so that would just give you a 1. And then this thing here gets minus by 1. So a half minus 1, that will give you minus a half. And then you've got to times y prime. So when you differentiate this, it will give you this. When you come to differentiate this here, this is just going to be minus 1, minus 1. And then just looking at this, differentiate the y. That will give you minus 1, but then you've got to times the derivative as well here. So when you differentiate this, it will give you this. Okay. So the next step, hang on. So the next step here is what? The next step here is yeah. Keep an eye on y prime, y prime. You want to group them together so that you can factorize later on. So at the moment you've got this block equals this block. Take away this block. Move this to the other side. So add y prime to both sides. Add y prime to both sides. So that will then give you this. And now now you've got this block. Add this block equals this block here. Factorize out the y prime. That will then give you this. Okay. And then now divide both sides by, so here you've got one block multiplying with this block here. Okay, so divide both sides by this block here. That would then give you this. So this is your y prime. Remember, we want to find out the second derivative. So well actually, when you get to this stage here, what does it mean to have a power of a minus a half down here? So you've got you've got a fraction here, and then you've got a fraction within a fraction where it's a minus and blah blah. What does this mean? So let's try and understand by tidying up. Okay, so let's tidy this up. So when you have y to the power of minus something, we immediately jump to this. Okay. So now imagine the 1 as 1 over 1 here, and then try and merge these two fractions together. Okay, merge these. So basically our y prime is this here, but we're just trying to tidy this up here. Okay, so merge the two together. So times top and bottom here by y to the power of a half, y to the power of a half, and then you can merge them together. So here you've got 1 divided by this thing here. Here you've got 1 divided by this fraction here. Okay, but when you're here, visualize it as this. Visualize it as, here you've got 1 divided by this thing here. So visualize it as 1 divided by this thing here. Okay, and then turn this, well, visualize a 1 as 1 over 1. But then when you divide a fraction, you times by the reciprocal of this. So take the reciprocal here. So now it's top times top, bottom times bottom. So that will give you this. Okay, so now notice that the earlier we had y to the power of minus a half. This minus thing seems uncomfortable, so we would tidy up to give us this here. Okay, so now from above, from earlier we worked out y prime as this. So hang on, yes. So earlier we worked out y prime as this, but then this felt a bit uncomfortable, so we would tidy up to this. Okay, so now this thing here becomes this thing here. Same thing. Notice that the power of a minus disappears. But so now y prime equals this thing here. Now we want y double prime, so we would differentiate the whole thing again. Okay, so here we've got a choice here. So from earlier we got this here, which is this thing here. So earlier we were here, and then we tidied up to this stage here. But hang on. So this thing here, so you've got 1 over the bubble here. Visualize this thing here as this. Okay. So basically earlier we got to this stage here, and then we tidy up to this stage here. But then what? So this thing here is this thing here, and then this thing here, the tidied up version here, becomes this. So now when we come to differentiate it again, you've got an option, you've got a choice. You can either differentiate this or you can differentiate this. Remember that this version here was the thing that we thought was ugly, and then we tidy up to something looking like this. But the thing is, when you come to differentiate it again, would you rather differentiate this thing here, where you've got to use a product rule, or would you differentiate this thing here? You see, I would choose this one here. So after all that, well, after earlier we got to this stage here, and then we spent all our time getting to this stage here, thinking that it would be neater. But in fact, when you come to differentiate it again, the ugly version is actually easier to differentiate than the tidied up version. So after all that, it was useless us tidying up. So we would just let's work from the ugly version. Okay, that's just part of math. Sometimes you would spend your time doing something, and then you realize that you don't actually need the neater version. So how so this is our stage here. This is what we got to. Okay, this is our stage here. Okay, let's start again here. Hang on. Sometimes these things happen, so you just have to accept it. So hang on, let's start again. So originally we were given this here. Differentiate this. So oops. So hang on. So differentiate this. That would then blah 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 blah. Yeah, you would get to this stage here, and then we spent all our time tidying this bit up. But in fact, it's actually easier to leave it as in this form here. So let's take off from here. Okay. So here we are ignore. Oops. Hang on. Sorry. Hang on. So originally. Sorry. Hang on. So originally we were given this here. Differentiate it. Blah 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 blah. We get to this stage here. Okay. And then let's work from this stage here. Yeah. Let's work from this stage here. Okay. So that would then hang on. That would then take us to this here from above, but then we would visualize this here as this. So let's work from this stage here, because we've just discovered that this here was it's better to work with the ugly version. Okay, so let's work from here. So from here, which is the same thing here. Okay, let's work from here. Let's start again. Well, start from here now. So now y prime equals this thing here. Okay, now differentiate it again. So this thing here moved down to here. That's why you've got this -1 here. The bubble here stays intact. Okay, and then this -1 here gets -1, so it becomes -2. But then you got to times it with the differential of this bubble here. But when you differentiate this bubble, remember this thing gets minus that. So this here is your -1/2, and then -1/2 take away 1, that will give you -1.5. Okay, and then you got the y itself here, so that will give you that y prime here. Okay, so now let's so here you've got, well, all these things are multiplying, they're all being multiplied together. Okay, so so visualize this as this. You've got 1 here times this block here. Well, this block here is really one, well, merging these two together, well, this block here becomes this block here. Okay, and then this half here is this block here, and then here you've got one block multiplying with another block. This bit here, you can visualize it as this. So the y prime stays the same. Okay, but later on we will need to substitute into this y prime. Okay, but let's merge these 3 blocks together first. Okay, so merging those 3 blocks together. So top times top times top. Notice that these 2 will become +1, and then here you've got merging these 2 together. That will give you this here, and this block here is this block here. Okay, I know there's a minus one, minus a half in here. It's ugly, but let's just leave it in there. So here you've got this y prime here is this y prime. So now we can substitute y prime. Earlier we worked out y prime already. So now we can use the earlier result and put it into y prime. So from earlier we worked out that y prime equals this thing here. So we can put it into the y prime. So basically y prime here is this thing here. Okay. So now it's a fraction multiplying with another fraction. So it's top times top, bottom times bottom here. So that would then notice that this bubble here is exactly the same as this bubble here. So we can just say this to the power of 3 as opposed to 2. Okay. Yeah. So your y prime equals this. Okay. The moral of the story is that sometimes you would try and simplify things, but then it turns out that the simplified version is not as good as the messy version. In this case, the messy version is better. It's just the way it goes. Okay. So your final answer here, y double prime, is this thing here. Okay.